Sometimes dead is better, and sometimes remakes are better. Or are they? Well, the remake of Stephen King's Pet Sematary leaves a lot from the original film, but it also brings us something new. In Pet Sematary, the Creed family relocates from Boston to a smaller town in Maine. And what they're trying to do is just enjoy the slower pace of life and settle down a little bit. They discover on their 50 acres of land that there is a pet burial ground, and that generations of people have been bringing their pets to lay them to rest out in the forest. Because of an accident, their neighbor John Lithgow introduces them to a brand new area in which the family can bury their deceased cat. And that's when all of the horror starts. I'm not going to compare this version with the 1989 original. The acting is really great in this. Jason Clarke, Amy Seamitz, John Lithgow, and Jete Lawrence all give very solid performances. I really like Jason Clarke's skepticism in his character, but this also conflicts with some of his actions that happen early in the film before Church the Cat bites the dust. Amy Seamitz has just this quiet terror and pain that she displays. She has things in her past that haunt her, and we are slowly let in on them. For me, John Lithgow is the standout in this. I mean, he brings love and yearning and remorse and sorrow all combined. And his character really does a good job of explaining a lot of what is going on in the film. So we're not left kind of wondering, just kind of like scratching our heads, or oh, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But it's not like it's being spoon-fed to us also. I mean, he portrays it in a way that really lays it out well, and it's convincing. Jete Lawrence, who plays Ellie, the daughter, she is creepy. And when she really comes into her own in the last half of the film, it's powerful. I liked her. I liked her movements. I like what they did with the camera work in that. And it gets some horror vibes within there. Duh, because it's a horror movie. But at that point, it really, she brought it, and it was kind of unflinching in certain spots, which surprised me, but I liked. The first hour or so of the film is slow. And what it's doing, though, is really building the characters. We get some good character development in this, and it ends up drawing us in. And then once the horror starts and the terror, it just doesn't let up. That tension stays through the end of the film. There are a few items that aren't fully explained, and I personally would have liked a little bit more insight into them. For one is Rachel, the character played by Amy Seamitz. She has this sister named Zelda, and I just would have liked some more backstory into that part of the overall story. There's also a point with a boy named Victor, and I would really like a little bit more information into why he's doing what he's doing. Along that same note, I would have found it more believable if some of the information would have been transmitted in a different way. Victor brings some information, and to me, I would have liked it and preferred it to be just shown or told in a different manner. Now, I know that that is completely vague and it makes no sense right now, but I don't want to spoil anything. There are some jump scares in this, and only one of them got me though. And the funny thing is, I saw it coming a mile away and I still jumped. Now, I don't think the horror in this is as high as it could have been. Don't get me wrong, there are creepy moments and there is some really good tension that is built. But I was just expecting a little bit more out of this. I wanted it to feel like my butt is clenched the whole time, or at least once the terror starts, that I can't let go, And for it didn't do that to me. Now, there is one thing that I really didn't like in the film, and it's totally unfair as a comparison, but I'm gonna do it anyway. There is a scene that involves a family grieving, and while they're showing this, there is a music bed playing over the top of it, and that's all it is. We see the action, we see the emotion on the actors' faces, but we only hear music. And I couldn't help but compare it to Hereditary. And Toni Collette as a grieving mom in that. And it is just gut-wrenching and horrifying. And it really made me feel for her and feel what she's going through. And so in Pet Sematary, because I'm making this unfair comparison, I felt a little bit removed. I felt like I was watching it, and so I wasn't as tied into it, and I wasn't as invested into that emotion, even though it was sad. And I did feel sadness for that. So it's not like I was cold-hearted or that it didn't convey the correct emotion. I just don't think that it conveyed enough, because Hereditary broke it. I mean, it broke me. Overall, this isn't a bad watch, and it's a pretty decent horror film. There are solid performances and some creepiness to it. I really also like how they explain the land and the burials. I mean, they made it seem fresh, even though the explanation is kind of rote. I mean, it's nothing new, but it felt fresh, and so I really appreciated that aspect of it. I think not everybody is going to enjoy the ending or like the way that the film ends, but personally, I really did like the way they wrapped it up. There's no sex or nudity, there is some profanity, and of course, a lot of violence. I give Pet Sematary 3.5 out of 5 couches. What's a good horror movie that I should check out? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for catching with me.